Your organization grows when people grow. From my observations, there's two pitfalls when everyone's working remote. One, virtual meetings are very conducive of getting very tactical. And so it's really important to have a strong facilitator and a set of agreed protocols in your virtual meetings. It's also easy to fall into this trap that you don't think you could be creative. And another thing that I've noticed in virtual meetings is if a side conversation starts to happen, it really just becomes a non-meeting. What happens is that side conversation takes over the virtual meeting. And that's just the nature of how virtual meetings work. Basically, you can only have one conversation going at a time. It's not like a room where you could, like multiple groups could be talking at the same time. You can't hear anything in a virtual meeting if that happens. And so there have been a lot of meetings recently where I've been sitting and really like two people have been having a conversation for 15 minutes and I just zone out. The second thing about working remotely is it's easy to think that you have more time, which you do, but often that time gets filled by other things like home distractions. In a remote work environment, it's definitely easier to find more time. You didn't commute. Oftentimes, you don't spend as much time getting ready. Literally, it takes me less than 10 minutes just to get ready when I'm working at home. And you also save a lot of transition time between meetings because you're not always in one building or one room. Sometimes you're having to drive to different meetings and such. So there's a lot of time that you can save when you're working virtually. For someone like me who ends up having to fly around a lot to different states, I'm saving a ton of time by not flying, and you can imagine the amount of time that I'm saving, but also you do lose a lot of the face-to-face quality time that you need to build better relationships. And so trying to figure out how to balance both of those is really essential. But this video is really about how you can use that saved time to learn. So in this case, how can you use that half an hour or more that you save each day by working remotely? And part of it has to do with just having some discipline around trying to incorporate more learning into your work so that you could share that learning with others. And a lot of times, these kinds of learnings often are shared just through casual conversations in your office. And now you really have the opportunity to take bits and pieces of your learning and share that more broadly across the organization. What's interesting in a remote environment where people are familiar with working remotely, people love sharing what they're learning with each other. And I find that the people sharing their learnings really find value in it because they get engagement and participation and actually adding value to other folks. And so in many ways, you could increase the level of learning that happens across your organization more equally distributed in a remote working environment. So like I said, don't forget that your organization grows when your people grow, and utilize this remote work environment time in order to give people more opportunities to learn and grow. Especially now, there are a ton of free resources that are being made available for anybody who's interested in learning because everybody is working remotely. And so now is the time to take advantage of some of the tools that are available to us. All right, this is the conclusion of a series of videos that I made to talk about 6 practices could change the way you optimize for remote work. The most important thing to remember about remote work is you can't take the 9-to-5 paradigm and stick it into a remote work environment. It will make you less effective and more inefficient. You actually have to optimize for a remote work environment, and that just means change the way you think about your schedule, the way you meet, and the way you get work done. In many ways, I think there will be a ton of benefits in thinking about remote work differently. And if you're able to have increased benefit of being able to make better decisions, having teams collaborate better and communicate better, and also just streamlining some of the inefficiencies that existed before. This is really a time where we could streamline the vessel that I talked about, changing the shape of the vessel and how much effort we put in so that we could streamline our work so that we could get more results without putting more effort in. And if you could do that, I think we'll achieve a lot more goals.